Okay, welcome back everyone. Hope we're all doing well today. We are at day 27, I think now. Which is, moving along steadily, surely. We're 52 days away, roughly, from what I plan on being the alpha build. And we're continuing on where we left off yesterday, which is with this thing, which is the collection / deck / card manager. So the first thing I kind of want to do is get this page in a general shape to present, I suppose. So I think what we're going to have is how could I show this? I don't think I'll work on anything particularly good looking just yet. I think we'll just work on these sort of showing up as a kind of button, because at the moment they don't seem to be. So I think we'll do that. So this will involve quite a bit of CSS, I think. So this dot card filter here is going to have a display inline block. It's going to have a width of say 200 pixels, a text align center, a margin of about 3 pixels. We're probably going to give it a small background color as well. Now the background color probably could be the same as this. And then we'll just do the color of this. And actually we should probably do the border as well. Whoops. Where is that? Where is it start going blue? There. Okay. So let's just have a quick refresh here, see what it looks like. So this looks a lot better already. Kind of like it actually, it doesn't look too bad. We'll probably just make a container for all of these. In fact, I'm fairly sure we've got a container for these. So we'll just kind of put these and highlight whichever one of these we're currently looking at, etc. Kind of like we normally do. So we're going to say cursor pointer. And then what is the card container? That's what it's called. So the card container is going to have some pretty similar rules to this. So margin, I guess we're just going to set the margin top here. In fact, yeah, we should do the margin top here. Probably about 5 pixels rather than that. We probably want a padding of about 20 pixels, and therefore a width equal to a calculation that is 90% minus 40 pixels. Okay. And then we just need to do a margin left of auto and a margin right of auto. And this should leave us no, probably don't want that actually. We should probably just have it as being 100% minus 40 pixels. In fact, we should probably make it minus 50 pixels and then just have this margin work out where it should be. Now, we actually probably want it to have no margin top, so that it kind of comes up with these things. We may want a slightly different color. We actually need to set the height property of this thing. So a height of, I believe, about 250 pixels would do. Whoops. So yeah, we probably want to change this background color. It doesn't actually center all of these because we're currently floating them to the left, I think. How could we resolve this? So yeah, these are looking a lot nicer up here. We need to add a bit of margin to them as well, like, because these are too far up to the top at the moment. So if we bring that lot down probably 30 pixels, so margin top 30 pixels, that might not push this thing down, which is a small inconvenience. Let me just double check that that isn't the case. Hello? Why can't I do this here? Interesting. Okay. Right, anyway. We also need to be careful that these don't overflow, I guess, as well, because that would make it look pretty bad. And I don't particularly want to give them sort of exact positionings, I don't think, because I don't think that looks quite as good. It is a bit too tall at the moment, so I think that actually just needs to go down to 200 pixels. Actually, no. I think it's... Actually, it might be 200 pixels. $210? 205? Yeah, 205. So it needs a height of 205 pixels, a margin top of about -4, I think this is. Let's have a see. There we go, that looks a little bit better. We need to move this over a couple of pixels as well. So this probably just needs to be like 48 because of the border. There we go. That looks a bit better. And then what we can do is we can just probably make these a little bit taller if it's the one that's currently selected. So for example here the Druid tab would be a little bit higher because we're showing the Druid one, and the same for here, the Magi, Vampiric and Spells when we click on them. So this is reasonable for now. I think we're probably going to add a little thing down here as well showing how many they've got, or how many each person's got, and thus how many they can add back into the deck, or add into the deck, so to speak. So when we create each card, we probably want to do a create element here as well. So create element P would, no, we should probably make it a div. So div, we're going to set its ID to be card I. So card, whatever number card it is. Let me just quit out of that so it doesn't make any more noises. Card, whatever card number it is, quantity. And then here we'll just have this as a card quantity class. Then null. Actually no, it does need an inner HTML, which is going to be 2 times. Then we're going to append this to the card container element. And then null. So this little card quantity thing we need to set some CSS rules for. So dot card quantity is going to have a display inline block. It's going to have a background color. We're probably going to invert the colors here, so a background color of this E, or of this sort of whitish colour, I guess it would be classed as an off-white. And then a text color of this, which would therefore just show up down here. This means we need to bump up the card container, but we should probably set the height and width rules of this first off. So here this height should probably be 20 pixels and maybe a width of 20 pixels. I'm just trying to think when I look back here. So margin left, that's going to get a bit tricky, isn't it? Margin left. If I said 100 pixels and then just let's see what this starts off looking like. Yeah, why is that there? That's interesting. So if we remove these things as having a margin left, they all end up there. Why do they start just wherever they want to though? That's kind of interesting. Okay, so maybe we do need this margin left, but it needs to be like minus 400 pixels or something. In fact, it needs to be... I'm not doing something right here. Do I need to just do float left? There we go. And then we just add a margin top of 200 pixels. 205, 3. No, it's 2. It is 2. Not just a magic number, that one. And then this margin left here needs to be like minus 40? 50. Okay. So let's just put this in here then, so that we have it as a reference, or as a thing that we're doing. So this will show our card quantity quite nicely down the bottom there. It's very simple for now. We don't actually need it to have too much going on. Now the only weird thing here is that the X is capitalized where I did not tell it to be capitalized, which I'm a little confused on. So what happens if I do put a capital X? So the capital X is bigger, but it's just that the 2 is the same size as a normal X in this font. Can't say I'm a fan of that, but I guess we'll just leave it for now. So we're telling each user they've currently got 2 of every card. That's just the way things are rolling in the early stages here. Okay, that seems pretty good. So now what we want to do, well, one small thing that's a little pet peeve, line height of, what was it, 20 pixels. So this will therefore end up just about in the right spot. Now I think I'll work on implementing these things sort of expanding properly next up. So what we will do is we will excuse me, we'll expand these. So what we need to do is when we have these with this filter cards, so here's what we do, okay? When we do this, we need to say document.get elements by class name card filter .style.height. Can I do that? Get elements by class name and then set their style rule? I think I can, now I think about it. But then we're trying to assign this to a whole... I'll try it. So if we give this an extra bit of height... In fact, no, we just want to revert it back to the normal. And the normal for the card filters is a unspecified height. Perfect. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll say we'll set a height. So inspect card filter height of 20 pixels, which is the same as what they currently have. And then if I set a height of 40 pixels, there we go. That sort of pushes it up a little bit as well. We'll probably just set the margin top down a little bit as well, since, yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll just raise it and remove some of the margin top for that element. So we want a height of 20 pixels in here. And then what we're going to do for all of these things is just set them to have a height of 20 pixels. And then we're going to do document.get element by ID card filter plus filter dot style equals a height of 40 pixels and a margin top of, what was it? So the margin top here is 30 pixels, so we want to set it to 10 pixels. Done. And actually we should say here as well then, margin top of 30 pixels. So I'm not sure whether this syntax works. I'm not even sure I've got this syntax right, to be completely honest, but we'll see. Okay. So we never actually set this one back, so this syntax here isn't working. And okay, I think set CSS JavaScript. I know this, but I just can't think of it. Yeah, come on. I need the actual quicker way of doing things. In fact, I've probably done this somewhere else. So, oh, I think one of the issues here is that this should say margin top like that. And I think that actually just might be the only issue here. So if I go over here, no, that isn't the issue. Multiple styles CSS JavaScript. Oh, okay. So what I could do then, no, that doesn't work. So what we should say then, where's this margin top? Set margin top JavaScript. Okay, so what we'll do then is we'll say .height equals 20 pixels. And then pretty much the same thing again. But instead of height, we'll just do margin top equals 30 pixels. And then here, then we're just going to copy and paste this, but 40 and 10. So This though needs to contain the filter, and also this needs to be get element by ID. Okay, so if we hop on over, oh, what's this? Cannot set property height of undefined. So is set CSS height JavaScript, is it just dot height? No, it's not. So what's the issue? Oh, I guess it's because this is an array then. So what I need to do then is say here element var filters equals this, and then what we're going to do is say for let I equal 0, I is less than filters dot length I plus plus, we will set filters, oh, that was not what I meant to type, filters I, and then dot style dot height, whoops, and then the same thing here pretty much, filters I dot style dot height here, dot margin top even. So that should work. So if we whoops go here, so yeah, but the margin top thing still isn't working, is it? Which is frustrating, to say the least. Now the height of the card quantity here is 20 pixels, so we need to expand this by 20 pixels as well. But yeah, the margin top of this thing doesn't seem to have changed. Nope. Oh, actually no, it does only have a margin top of 10 pixels. So if I said here then margin top is 100 pixels, that moves them all down as well. Okay. So what if we just set the top? That doesn't work either. Okay. How do I make this appear up further then? I mean, I can't move the others down, right? So if I inspect this one and say margin top is actually going to be 40 pixels, yeah, it just pushes everything down. Well, this is frustrating, isn't it? So I think this is because of the fact that they're displaying as an inline block. So what happens if I float them left? Bad stuff. Okay, what I need to do then is these guys. Rather than float left, I need to set the position to fix. Does that work? No. Absolute. Whoops. So relative, here we go. So if we set this to relative, we set this thing to have a top of 0 pixels. In fact, if we set the top to be minus 20 pixels, there we go. That's how that should show then. And then this thing then needs to just go back to how it had its margin top as minus 5. No, it needs to go up more. So it's about minus 23, 4. And that would be how we want this to show up then. So, apologies for that taking so long. So I need this as to have a position of absolute. This thing down here now needs the margin top to be minus 24 pixels. We then need to go into here, and instead of saying margin top, we just say top and top. Then what we just do is we say all of them should have 0 top, and the one that gets selected should have minus 20 pixels top. And I believe that might make it work. Really no. Really no. What happened there? Where are all of these then? They're all behind each other. Why are they all behind each other? They didn't do that just now. Oh, because this is... Oh, I'm stupid. Relative, not absolute. Relative. Here we go. Now we just need to actually move this down, I guess. So we just need to set this back to 4. So it's when these... So we need to start it off as having minus 4 pixels. And then as soon as we start doing stuff, so the first time we do this, we need to say document.getElementById card container, and then set its .style.top equal to minus 24 pixels. Unexpected on line 25. Or 26. Oh. Not with it. Okay, so if I click this now, it still flies up. So do we set this thing to have a top? Oh, this should be margin top. There we go. Dynamic CSS for you. Right. So I guess we should also, when we do this thing here, set the line height equal to 40 pixels as well. So when we do this, we should also set line. I think we need to use capital H. All the capital letters apart from H. Yeah, but that then screws things up here. Great. Great. So what changed? Do they need like a top of minus 10 after I do this now? Oh, okay. So when I do this, I need to reset the line height back to 20 pixels. God damn it. So yeah, these guys all flop down again, which I'm not 100% sure why that is. But apparently I need to set their top to -10 after I set the line height here. Cool. Done. So this is looking a lot better than it was earlier on today. So we've got some form of actual visualization of which one we're looking at the moment. The cards still don't do too much at the moment, but it's better than nothing. So what we need to do now then is look at the deck creation, I guess. This is the exciting part. So actually, where we've got this, we should probably bring this in. In fact, how could we do this? We could... show the deck. Just moving stuff, sorry. I could click here, create deck, and show all of the decks down in this section, because we've got nothing going on down here. And so if I click create deck, druid deck, these three would disappear. The spells would already be made for now. So I guess we could just remove everything apart from the druid cards, and then we can show the cards that we're adding to this new deck. I guess that could work. So what we will do, therefore, is we will do... Now, how do I want to show this? So I guess what we do then is we click... If the user has no other decks, we will click... We'll just have a new deck thing here. Otherwise, we'll have the other decks that they have done stuff with. Not 100% sure how we're going to display that exactly just now, but we'll have some way of displaying the decks that the user has made down here. I'm trying to think of a quick way that could work, but it's actually quite tricky. So we'll have something very similar to what this looks like up here, but down here, it'll be down here, and we will be showing the cards going into this deck, of which there will be roughly 20. Okay, so what we now need to do is pretty much copy this. I guess what we could do to stop people from spamming decks is we could have pretty much this exact same thing down here, and so if they went to play in a game with their druid deck, it would overwrite the default deck, and they would just have one of each deck, and they could swap. Yeah, I like this idea. I like this idea. This doesn't make much sense to you guys, but I like my idea here. So what we're gonna do, so we've got the cards, we've got the filters. Now what we want to do then is we want to get the decks. So we are going to have to query something here then. So if we've got all of the cards, that's fine. Yeah, we just need to query the database. So how am I going to set this up? So I need to create a new file. So what we do, query the database for each of the users' 4 decks. Show each of these decks when they have their filter clicked on. So this means the cards in these decks, when they have their filter clicked on. I need to stop clicking save. Then we need to basically say if deck.length is less than 20, don't allow a save to occur, else save the deck, obviously. So this gives us all of those cards. And we also need to say then if deck.length is less than 20, when the user clicks on a card from the top section, allow them to add this card if the amount of this card in this deck is bigger than is less than 2. Else we just return, or we do nothing really, so we don't need to really say else. If deck.length is bigger than 0, when the user clicks on a card from the deck panel, remove it from the deck. Well, remove one copy of it from the deck. Okay. So also remove the cards from the top panel. The cards and filters for other sorceries when we click on a sorceries deck. Okay, so I think then this should work. Oh, and what we also need to say then is if deck.length is equal to 20, allow the user to save the deck. And that should pretty much do us, I think. So this basically means, so the limitations of this method, each user only has 4 decks available to them. Users cannot have their own decks and default decks. We could show a button that simply says convert to default, but it is known that the defaults contain one of each card, or each minion, each sorcery minion. That's known. So yeah, I don't think these limitations are particularly bad, and this is also So we can't have more than one. I think that's the only sort of downside to this system, is that people can only have one per class currently. This is only going to be temporary though. Like, I think I'll probably end up being able to put in maybe 3 or 4 of these for each user. So this is fine. Temporary. Okay. So we need to query the database for each of the users' 4 decks. So when we load into here, what we need to do is do a socket.emit. Well, as well as this as well as inside of this show cards. No, what we'll do is we'll just say check decks. And what we will do here is we will pass nothing, I don't think. Whoops. Now, how do we know which user is currently trying to access this information? How do we know who is trying to get this information? We've only got their socket. We haven't actually got their username currently. That's a good question. So when we go from here to there, maybe when we do this enter collection, we should pass through the user. So in our menus.js, this username we could pass through. So yeah, enter collection, passing through the username. And then here we've got username. And we'll do here, pass that through. Okay, so once we've passed through this username, this then means that on the server socket handler, no, on the server.js, if we do socket.on check decks, then function username, I mean, I suppose we could do the same thing as with this load decks, but I think this is a better idea. Like, we could actually just pass that through though, right? We could just pass through that deck. Sorry, their decks. And it would cut down on the amount of queries required. So instead of that, when we go here, yeah, why don't we just do that? Where are these decks then? Where do we get them from? Where is the query here? Oh, here, load decks. So where is our socket.on? We don't have one. It's because it's on the client socket here, isn't it? So it's, deck. So this is it here. User decks collected. So I guess what we could do then is we could create a variable here, dex, users dex equals dex, and we can globalize this by putting it into the menus. So let user dex equal an empty array, so that then we get through all of the dex of the user here. Now we do need to change up the way that we do this. When we get the user's dex, so user dex collected, now what we want to do though, we want to check by username first. Now I only want to add in the defaults if the user doesn't have their own deck of a certain type. So what I need to do here then is, for this dex equals, we need to say if results. Now the results is every single piece of information from the database. So actually there should be a for loop. So for let I equals 0, I is less than results dot length I plus plus. So for each of these, what we need to do is say if results I in the, hang on, where is it? Oh, I've just opened up Visual Studio, close. Now if we use so and we show collections, that means that we get dex. So what we need to do is do a db.dex.find. Then we see here then that dex sorcery is what we need to do. So if this thing's dex sorcery is, oh yeah, I can do this another way I think actually. So we needed to check whether this is equal to any of the dex that are currently in the dex array. So if dex contains something with the dex sorcery of the retrieved results dex sorcery, don't add it. So that means well, I guess what we could do is we could remove, right. So if dex defined is an array, what we can do here then is say for each of our results, let I equals 0, I is less than results.length I plus plus. So for each result in our results array that we get here, now dex defined needs to have druid, healer, magi, and vampiric. So what we need to do here is say if for each of these results Remove from dex defined. Right, I've got it. This was tough. Dot splice in the position where the index is equal to the results. Right, so index of. So this is dex defined dot index of dot in. That was it. That was interesting. So dex defined to find dot index of the results I sorcery. Okay. So for each result that we get from this, what we're going to do is we're going to remove it from this array. So dex defined dot splice in the position in the index of this dex defined of the sorcery of the current result. And then what we do down here is fairly simple. We say if that actually should have stayed there. So if dex to find dot includes no, actually, yeah, it dot includes the results. So this does actually need to be inside of a for loop as well. Damn it. For let I equals 0, I is less than results dot length I plus plus. So if this contains results I sorcery, then add results I. Okay. So this should only return to us one deck of each type, or sorry, of each sorcery. So if we head on over to here, let me just restart the server quickly. I've probably screwed many things up now. Okay, that's good but bad. We've only got one thing here. No errors. So, is it includes or is it the other one? Array dot includes or array dot contains? No, this should be right. So we've currently now not getting anything. So what if we log this? Let's log this quickly. Because if we log this, we should be able to find where the issue arises here. Undefined. That's an issue. So results I sorcery. Oh, I don't think I saved it as sorcery, did I? It's dex sorcery. Dummy. So it's meant to be dex sorcery. And that might actually solve all of our woes. Okay. So let's give it a go here then. No, that didn't solve our woes at all. Druid was the only thing that was logged there then, which is good, but why is nothing else here being done? So what we should probably do here is say console.log dex to find, so that we can actually see what's coming through here. So this is going to take a little tiny bit of trial and error. We got an empty array, which is an issue. So for each of these then, we want to do console.log dex to find. And let's see if this is happening more than once, because it should only ever happen once. It did only happen once, but it removed everything from the array. Oh, because we didn't say for how many. That would be the issue. Right. I forgot to say how many to... There we go. So now we should have everything back. Awesome. So it's actually doing exactly what we want it to do, which is loading... Top priority, load the Druid deck which we have of the user, and otherwise get all the defaults. Sweet. That's actually really important then, and really good for us. So now what we need to do is, when we get those decks, is assign them in here, which we're actually already doing. So what I can do then is, when we go into here, we can say for let I equals 0, I is less than, what did we call it? Userdex.length I plus plus console.log userdex dot, is it deck name? Yeah, deck name. In fact, it should probably be this. Okay, so let's give this a quick go. Oh, wrong thing. So over here, we didn't get a console log. Why did we not get a console log? So what happens if I just do console.log userdex.length? Whoops. 0. That's worrying. So then, when we do this, we set userdex equal to the dex array. Maybe I need to put userdex as the variable in here. Oh, it's userdex, isn't it? Not usersdex. That'll be why. Okay, so that now should just work. So let's just quickly reload the server in case that causes any bugginess or any unwanted behavior. There we go, we've got 4. So now what we can do then is we can display the 4 decks down below. So what we need to do then is we need to create a deck container basically. So create element div. I guess this will be deck filter container, null 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 main container, And this is why they were all bunched up together, I get it. In fact, I don't even think we'll do this, because we don't really need to. So we'll copy these and paste them here. So these, instead of card filters, are going to be deck filters. And I probably could have also done this one at the same time here. So these deck filters are going to be added to the deck filter container, which I forgot is that whole thing, isn't it? We should probably just make one anyway, basically. So deck filter containers, deck filters container, and we're appending this to there. So this is going there. And what we need to do is, instead of filtering cards here, we need to just call the show deck function. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, the first things first. No, don't worry about that, actually. We don't need to worry about the name. We just want to show deck, which is not something I would normally say on Twitch. So show deck, and we're probably going to, well, we'll just pass through whichever the class is, I guess. We could do that. That's probably the best way of doing it. So here we'll just pass through Druid, here we'll pass through Healer, here we'll pass through Magi, and here Vampiric. Vampiric. So we've got these 4 containers here, and what we're going to need to do is create this show deck function. Yeah, we can work with this. Okay. And then what we're going to need to do is pretty much create a copy of this card container. So this will just literally be deck container. I actually just added this to the main container, so what is the function of this thing? Don't worry about it, we'll be fine. Okay, so deck container needs the same as card container. So copy and paste this, and just set it as the deck container. Then we need deck filter rather than card. So card filter and deck filter can just be the same. Deck dot deck filter. Now the only difference here is going to be that the dot deck filter is going to require. In fact, no. We can just say the deck filters container. Yeah, dot filters container. Which is an ID. Is going to have a margin top of 400 pixels. We could probably set this to about 100 pixels, as it turns out. Alright, so things are looking a little bit clustered at the moment, which isn't too bad, I don't think. Yeah, we just need to reset these as well. Down here. So these are the decks. So when we click on these, oh yeah, we're basically just creating that function, aren't we? We're doing that function thing. Sweet. Okay. So what we need to do then, I think by default we should open up on Druid here, but I'm not sure. Now we need to be able to show the decks. So with this show decks function, and then this here is going to pass in the sorcery, and what we're going to need to do then is we're going to need to fetch the thing from user's deck, or user decks, where the sorcery is equal to this sorcery. Now we could just select the position in the array, but that wouldn't actually work, would it? Whew. Okay. So, how could we do this? Because they may not be in the Druid, Healer, Magi, Vampiric ordering. So I could cross-match. So I could say... Oh, okay. Yeah, we just go for a for each, I guess. So for let I equals 0, I is less than user dex dot length I plus plus. And then we say if user dex I dot what dot deck sorcery, which actually should be in the square bracket notation. So dex sorcery is equal to the sorcery passed through to this. Then what we're going to do is set the... Well, we're going to need to get the cards. So we're going to... we're going to load deck. So what we'll do here is we'll say var deck to load is equal to user dex I don't actually remember what I called this. Deck cards. Okay. And then we're going to do a load deck passing through deck to load. Okay, simple enough. So then what we're going to do is we're going to load deck to load, and then for each of these cards in here we're going to load something from the cards cache. So what we'll do is we'll say for let I equals 0, I is less than deck to load dot length I plus plus. So for each thing in this deck to load, we're going to get this thing and load it from this cards cache. So we're going to do cards cache in the position deck to load I, and we're going to get the card name. So actually I guess we're pretty much just doing this. So creating one of these, but using this as our position to load from. So here we create the collection card. Oh yeah, that's fine. Now what we actually need to do here though is say doesn't particularly matter for the ID, does it? Yeah, it kind of does. So what we need to do then is we need to say deck to load. Well, actually, we don't actually ever pass through this. So I guess we'll do pass through here, user dex I deck sorcery. So this also therefore passes through the sorcery, which actually we could just use sorcery for as well, which is a lot easier. So I'll just comment this out quickly here. This here should just therefore be sorcery plus card I. So wherever we have deck to load here, What was this before? This was filter, yeah. So wherever we had filter, we need to just put through this. So it's probably pretty much everywhere. Okay, so we've got this. Now what we need to do is find out, well, we need to get this position in the array, and that's what this is. So actually, where we've just done most of these edits, that's what we need to look for. So I'm just going to do these one by one, so I apologise it's going to take a little bit of time here. How's everyone doing, by the way? It's been a bit dead in chat today. If you're out there, let me know. It's lonely today. Hope you're all having a good day, though, nonetheless. Yeah, that should be fine. It's just where we're referencing this cards cache that I need to select it as this rather than what we were just doing. Oh, now the thing is though, cards cache returns the damn. Cards cache returns things based on their sorcery. So what I actually need to do then is set this cards cache somewhere else as well. So where does this show cards come from? Do we have a declaration of this? No. It's up here though, isn't it? So where do we do show cards then? Just there. Okay. So when we send these cards over here then, what I need to do is also just pass through the list of cards, like the full list, a bit easier. Which is going to be a bit annoying, I won't lie. So when we do this show cards, we're also going to just do here then var all cards is just an empty array, and then we're just going to do here all cards dot push minion cards I. Now this is just going to be minion cards, so maybe that's why I should name this minion cards, maybe. Oh no, they've already got that. So minions, that'll work better. So where we've got this, we also want to return minions. So I think actually to return to arrays JavaScript. I think I have to put the multiple arrays into an array. Yeah, I do. So what we need to do then is say here then that arrays, so var arrays equals cards and minions, and then we just need to return arrays. So then in arrays 0 we've got cards, So what does this do? Does this socket.emit it? No, it doesn't. So in the server socket handler for show cards, so find show cards, we need to do here cards to show is equal to that. Okay. So that means that when we are on the client here, this thing needs to show this, and then we need to do, well, actually if we do show cards this, in our collection here we just set this equal to the thing in the 0th position, and we also do minions equals cards 1. Okay. Then what we need to do is over here we just need to change this cards cache to cards, to minions. So wherever we see cards cache, we just need to change this to say minions. So yeah, minions there. And then we should have this working, I think. I'm not sure. Let's have a see. Well, nothing broke there just yet. Need to see the console a little bit bigger here. Filter is not defined, collection line 52. Oh, okay, so this filter here and here and here is meant to just say sorcery. Ah, and this is adding to the wrong thing. This here needs to be appended to the deck container. But it actually looked as though it was about to work. Alright, I need to restart the server. Whoops. Yeah, this is looking promising. Filter is not defined still on line 52. What? 52. Oh. Wait, what? Did I not change this at all? Wow. Okay. So now if we restart again, we should end up with the deck showing. Ah, we're not yeah. So basically there's a small thing at the moment, which when we load deck we need to just basically say document dot get element by ID deck container dot inner HTML is nothing, and that should fix that up quite nicely. So our Druid deck, our Healer deck, our Magi deck, and our Vampiric deck. As you can see here, we've got these. Now, what's a bit tricky is, say for example here, we wanted to go to our Druid. Whoa, what happened there? Oh, I think I know. Well, actually, no, I don't. Why has that done that so many times? Hey? It's because it's adding... If I have Druid open and Druid open, it adds it to that thing. So we do have that as a slight issue. So when we add this stuff to there, I think what I need to do then is just make this say sorcery deck card, rather than just say sorcery card. And this should actually make A, a lot more sense, but B, be a lot better in the long run as well, for when we want to do more stuff. That should be all of those changed then. So we just need to restart and give it a go. So if we head back on over here, there we go, we're no longer adding it to the stuff up here. That was what was happening. It looked really weird. Okay, so we need to just do this stuff here. We need to load these up, like we've got these ones loading up and make it becoming bigger. And then we need to actually add some functionality here where we can take out and add in cards to the deck. So what do we want to do? Well, I need to set up a proper time for me doing stuff. Because at the moment I'm just sort of flagging too early and then just not bothering and having short streams. Short streams at the moment are pretty bad. Or a pretty bad habit for me. But I think I'll fall into it today and then just come back properly tomorrow. Which is what I'll do, yeah. So thank you all very much for watching. I'll come back into things properly tomorrow, hopefully. It was almost an hour and a half streaming, which isn't too bad, but yeah, I think I'll come back tomorrow with a bit more work, and hopefully a little bit earlier as well. Didn't mean to start quite so late today. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.